Hey, I'm Hendrik Booz, and I'm your IB CAS coordinator for George C. Marshall High School. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about what a good reflection can be and what it should be. So if you see in this Manage Back tips sheet that I've linked both in the messages in your Manage Back message forum and also on many of your actual worksheets, you can see I have a broad response to your question. And if we click on that, boom, goes down. And this is kind of the holistic idea. We want you to begin dealing with all 5 stages of the CAS experience through these reflections. So, investigation, what is the idea that I have? How can I make that idea happen? Preparation and planning, that is like, I need to go seek out Mr. Litz. I need to go seek out help from Octagon Club, help from whomever. Action, the actual stream cleanup, the actual turtle pen creation. Perhaps it's laying down one track at a time, coming up with a sheet of music that we can use and that we can harmonize as a crew. And then the reflection. And the reflection is not something, as you can see here in yellow, that you can do in one day. You should constantly be thinking of these experiences kind of as the scientific method. You have an idea, it works, it doesn't work, I go back to square one, maybe I jump around. So your reflection is meant to be about your growth and some of the struggles. Maybe looking at everything through one of the learning outcomes, strength and growth as an element of your challenges and skills, your collaborative skills, etc., etc., etc. And in other videos, I explain all those specific learning outcomes, but the reflection is meant to demonstrate that you're reaching these learning outcomes. And so a lot of your reflections have been basic book reports, not necessarily something where you consider your ideas, your thoughts, your planning. How does that help you grow? And so in further tips here on this Manage Back tip sheet, you can see that I've taken from IB's kind of teacher support material knowledge questions. How have you come to know through the CAS experience beyond your academic education? What do you know now that you didn't? I'm fine if you guys write 1 or 2 reflections total in your overall worksheet that you worked out for a couple hours and it was tough that day. But I want you to begin thinking about how you are knowing yourself differently through the CAS experience. It's a core of the IB program, and theory of knowledge is the one that you typically deal with your knowledge questions more often in. But the CAS experience is also a fundamental part of that core, just as the EE requires you to do a lot of kind of self-reflection, investigation, etc. This is the idea that you are learning about yourself. I am fine if you tell me this is what I did, but I'm not going to read too many of those. I trust that you are doing what you say you are doing. So let's take a look at an example from one of your classmates. She wrote this a little more than a month ago, and ideally you are focusing on one learning outcome per reflection. That's going to show a great deal of focus. So she has 3 of these questions that she found on the tip sheet and probably online. How do you feel being involved? Being involved in junior achievement made me feel fully responsible for teaching these kids about business basics because others were relying on me to do so. As the kids listened to what I had to say about these concepts, I felt as if I were personally responsible for how well they grasped the subject. There's motivation there at the very end of that last sentence. What value does the activity have? This experience held a lot of value to me because it taught me how to plan and lead a full day of activities and lessons for a group of kids from scratch. Learning these planning tools increased my ability to adapt to problems on the spot, to work together with 2 other people to formulate an effective day of lessons, and learn how to keep a group of 37-year-olds interested in these topics. A little bit more book reporty. How does that planning, or that what's called executive kind of order functioning, how does that help you in areas of your social life? How does it help you in your Group 4 project? Think about extrapolating or pulling these ideas from the CAS experience that you're writing about to the greater sense of who you are as a person. Now, the third part of this, what did you learn from this activity and how might you extrapolate from this to apply any lesson to your life more generally? Being able to successfully teach a classroom of first graders about basic business concepts was one of the many things I learned from JA and will use in future experiences. One of the other important skills I will apply to my life is the ability to plan ahead accordingly. Ideally here, she would have offered an example of how she sees herself doing that in other activity experiences, in her life. But willing to alter the plans for the benefit of others. This was significantly important with JA because while teaching the lessons, my team and I realized that some were not working effectively and we had to change our approach. There's a little bit of bending back, a little bit of consideration about how she did what she was doing. Furthermore, she goes on to say, hopefully in the future I will be more prepared with alternative lessons or ideas so that I'm able to adapt to these situations more easily. So there you have it. This is even a little long. I would have accepted half of this. I'm not looking for a great deal of length. 100, 150 words is almost too much. We're looking for you guys to incrementally, as you are working within these experiences and in your CAS projects, write reflections that show us that you are learning from these learning outcomes or learning about yourself. As always, if you have any questions, you can come see me in E101 during Blue Days, during lunch, or in D206 during Learn, any days but Thursdays. Thanks a lot and have a great day.